Hello and welcome to Arsenal Analysed. I'm JC. I hope you're doing well. With the season all done and over, I thought it would be a good time to bring you a transfer special. 8 players that Arsenal could sign this summer. So if you are looking forward to getting stuck in, why not leave a like? And if you're new around here, please do consider subscribing as it massively helps me and the channel out. But what will we be covering during today's video? Arsenal, Edu and Arteta have identified at least 4 key areas that Arsenal need to strengthen in this summer, including fullback, central midfield, wide forward and striker. So let's waste no more time at all and jump into our first player. Federico Dimarco, a player recently linked with Arsenal. He plays for Inter Milan, aged 24, not quite a full Italian international yet. Can play left back, main position, centre back, often used there as a substitute, and if really pushed, even right back. Standing at 5'7", a good height for a modern wing back. However, his contract runs until June 2026, meaning a lot of that power sits with Inter Milan. However, it is to be believed that a fee in the region of £20 to £25 million would be enough to prize the player away from Inter Milan. Now, there are a number of stats on screen. Those in white are over the course of the season. Those in yellow are per 90 minutes on average from, in this case, the 32 league games that Dimarco has featured in. And this will be a theme throughout today's video. Now, he has featured 32 times this season, recording low minutes, and that's because he's featured mainly as a substitute, keeping 3 clean sheets, conceding 16 goals when he has played. However, he does like to chip in with the odd goal and assist, 2 apiece, which is good reading for a fullback. And if we had a look at some of these numbers in yellow, I won't go through them all, otherwise I'll be here all night. Great passing accuracy at 88%, but one thing that really stands out to me is his crossing. 9.6 on average per game, completing 38%. Really high, solid numbers for a fullback. Also completing 62% of his dribbles as well. Nearly 2 tackles per game, which is really solid. A slight concern are his aerial duels, only winning 50% of the 1.1 he's involved in. However, he does like to get involved in a bit of a tackle. 5.9 ground duels, winning 56% of them. In terms of his strengths and weaknesses, strengths in green, weaknesses in red, an attacking threat, which you've probably identified from the stats on screen. Good passer of the ball, great crosser of the ball, and for that reason, he often takes set pieces deep within his own half and also corners at times. And a big plus, which is a feature of a lot of the players that Arsenal are looking to target this summer, and some are gone, he can play multiple positions. Aerial duels are a bit of a concern, and his positioning, he can often get caught a little too further upfield, leaving gaps in behind for the opposition to expose. And if we have a quick look at his heat map there, very much something that you would associate with a left wing back, not afraid to get into that final third either. So some really good all-round stats, numbers, and information to digest. Player number 2, Aaron Hickey. And for those of you who are regular watchers on the channel, there is a more in-depth video available if you wish to go and watch that. But a 19-year-old Scotsman playing for Bologna. He's been there a couple of seasons now. He can play left back and right back. He can play with both feet, bipedal, I'm led to believe. Quite high for a wing back at 6 foot, with his contract running until June 2024. And he could be taken from Bologna for such a small fee, 18 to 22 million pounds, somewhere in the region of Tomiyasu. If he turns out to be half that player, absolute gem with a high ceiling, age just 19. One thing that I do really like about this kid is that he's played 36 times, recording nearly 3,000 minutes. So really good consistency. When he does feature, he has kept 8 clean sheets, conceding 42 goals, the latter not being so great, but he has scored 5 goals and recorded an assist this season. So no stranger to getting forward and contributing where needed. Other numbers that I really like the look of, especially in an Arsenal side, 83% passing accuracy and 61% with his dribbles. Really good at getting forward. Absolutely no fear. And his ground duels as well at 60%, competing on average 7.7 times per game. Really no fear with this kid. And it is no surprise that if we have a look at his strengths in green, ground duels, big strength, dribbling, big strength, attacking threat, all the things that you want to see in a modern fullback, consistent throughout the season as well. And he can play multiple positions. Arsenal have had several injuries this season where we have had no Kieran Tierney and Tomiyasu, whether it be at the same time or different times. This kid could easily come in and back them up. He does commit one too many fouls at times. That could be the fact that he's young and still learning, and his crossing could certainly be a little bit better as well. And as we can see here on his heat map, very much down that left-hand side, but at times this season for Bologna in Serie A, he has been utilised down that right. Moving into midfield, we've got Youri Tielemans, who is said to be available for somewhere in the region of 25 to 30 million pounds as he enters the final year of his contract. For those people who do follow the Premier League, you'll be very familiar with the player. He plays central midfield. He can play as a number 8, a box-to-box, or even more of a deep-lying playmaker, a full international, age 25 with Belgium as well, standing at 5'7", a player that I really like and hope Arsenal get hold of. He's featured 32 times this season, recording just over 2,600 minutes. And he has also chipped in with 10 goals and assists, which is really good numbers from midfield, something that Arsenal could really do with next season. 83% passing accuracy, providing at least one clear chance for his colleagues. 1.3 times, dribbles, another really high one for me, completing 64% of his dribbles per game. Loves to get stuck in from midfield. He gets around 2.6 tackles per game. And he likes to get stuck in, as I said, 9.2 ground duels, completing 50% of them. Some really good stats being recorded there. He is a great passer of the ball with fantastic ball control. He is a playmaker. He has the eye to make those key passes when unlocking those deep low block defenses like Brighton and Crystal Palace, for example. However, a big minus for him is that he's not the quickest, he's not very mobile, and his defensive awareness could be a little bit better. He's been fairly lackluster in that department this season. If we have a look at his heat map, he very much situates himself in the same sort of positions that a Thomas Partey or even a Martin Odegaard might find himself in. So it'd be very interesting to see how he would fit into Arteta's plans should we sign him. Another central midfield player that Arsenal have been linked with quite heavily is Ruben Neves of Wolves, 25 years old, another full international at Portugal, playing central midfield. Yes, he does like to get forward, but definitely more of a defensive box-to-box midfield player. And he does love to score a bit of a long-range effort, standing at 5'9", with a contract running until June 2024. He could be available for somewhere in the region of 40 to 50 million pounds. Arsenal are said to have a chunky budget available. However, Barcelona are also supposed to be interested. He's featured 33 times this season, recording just over 2,600 minutes, having chipped in with 4 goals and 2 assists, which is okay. Could be a little bit better, but it is what it is for a slightly more defensively minded midfield player. 9 yellow cards. His discipline could certainly be on the better side, but other numbers that really impressed me was his passing accuracy at 84% and his dribble completion rate at 81%. No stranger to getting involved with those ground duels, 7.4 per game, but only winning just under half. So that number could be slightly better. Completing just over 2 tackles and over 8 ball recoveries, which is really good for a midfield player. Some of his strengths are passing, long shots, as we've already mentioned, set pieces. He does love to bang the odd free kick in. He also likes to whip those balls in the box from set pieces and corners. Definitely a threat in that area. And his defensive awareness, playing in a double pivot with, say, maybe a Thomas Partey, could be really good when looking to see a game out or playing against those stronger teams. However, very similar to Tielemans, pace, acceleration and mobility are somewhat of a concern. Very similar to what Xhaka offers in midfield when playing as a number 8. And again, if we look at his heat map, he situates himself just slightly to that right-hand side, occupying that space that a Thomas Partey would normally occupy. Does that mean when we look at him and Tielemans, Partey could be moving over to that left-hand side, or would one of these two players, should we sign them, move into that position instead? In terms of wide forwards, Cody Gakpo has been heavily linked with Arsenal Football Club, 23 years old at PSV. He is a full international who can play as a left forward or a centre forward. Right-footed, likes the cutting on that right foot. Very tall for what you would call a pacey forward at 6'2". However, his contract does run until 2026. Just like Dimarco, all the power in PSV's hands. However, a fee somewhere in the region of 35 to 45 million pounds could be enough to prize the player away from the club. Having featured 27 times this season for PSV in the league, and some fantastic numbers here. 12 goals, 11 of them non-penalty goals. Only scoring one with his head. I'd have thought that maybe arriving late at the back post with his height, he could be a little bit more of a threat. However, he's also recorded 13 assists, which is absolutely fantastic for a wide forward. He does have at least 2.6 shots per game. 54% of those are successful. His passing probably does need to be better if he was to be part of an Arsenal side. But a couple of other numbers that really did impress me. 3.4 chances created for his colleagues, 6.7 crosses, and 6.2 dribbles completed. Absolutely phenomenal numbers. And again, really good at that high press, 11.8 ground duels per 90 minutes. Some of his strengths are dribbling, crossing, key passes, a natural finisher, and set pieces. And after trying my absolute hardest to find some research that would state some weaknesses, there are no outstanding weaknesses for this player. Maybe if he was to move to one of the top 5 leagues, it could be a different story. But as you can see in the heat map displayed on screen, very much situates himself out on that left wing as a left forward. Loves to cut in. Very Thierry Henry-esque. Big statement. Next player up is a big fan favourite, Serge Gnabry, entering the last year of his contract. Many Arsenal fans calling for him to return home at 26. A player in the peak of his powers, a full international and a regular starter for Bayern Munich as well. He can play as a right forward, a left forward, a striker, even an attacking midfield player. An absolute weapon if needed in an attacking position. Right-footed at 5'7", and is apparently available for somewhere in the region of 35 to 45 million pounds if he doesn't sign that contract extension with Bayern Munich. He's featured 34 times this season in the league, recording just over 2,100 minutes, 14 goals, all of which from open play, and 5 assists. A real big threat going forward. 2.1 shots per game, 82% passing accuracy, 2 chances created for his colleagues, and 9.9 ground duels. He loves that high press, which is perfect for what Arteta wants to do moving forward. A fantastic finisher, definitely one of his strengths. Passing, dribbling, key passes, and hold-up play, all within this kid's locker. Aerial duels are the only real weakness that I could find after doing my research and watching a number of videos. But a player at 5'7" and a winger, not to be expected. And looking at his heat map from this season, a character that likes to situate himself definitely on that right-hand side. Competition or cover for Bukayo Saka, should we sign him. Gabriel Jesus, the most hotly linked striker to Arsenal Football Club, entering the last year of his contract, having worked with Arteta before. Man City, 25 years old, entering the peak of his powers, a full international with Brazil. Mostly operated on the right-hand side for City this year. Arsenal want to sign him as a centre-forward, more of your traditional number 9, standing at 5'7" and available for 30 to 40 million pounds. Fingers crossed we can get hold of Gabriel Jesus. Having featured 28 times this season, minutes on the low side, just over 1,800, and he has managed to bag 8 goals and 8 assists. So some very, very good numbers there for a player that has been often utilised off the bench or brought off early, having completed 60 to 70 minutes. 2.2 shots per game, nearly 2 chances created for his colleague, 8.9 ground duels per 90 minutes as well. He has been described by his Brazilian coach as the ultimate pressing forward, which is really, really good for what Arteta wants to do. and with regards to his dribbles as well. 3.5 per game, 64% completion rate. Great passer of the ball, fantastic presser, loves to link up play and hold up the ball, and no stranger or less fear when dribbling at his opposition. He does need to be a bit more of an instinctive finisher. This could change with a bigger sample size if he was to play more consistently over the course of a season. And he does need to have a little bit of return on his goals and assists when underperforming on his XG. As I already mentioned, he's been definitely utilised more of a right winger this season, and that is reflected in that heat map on screen. Last but by no means least, we've got Victor Osimhen of Napoli, 23 years old, a full Nigerian international, playing as an out-and-out centre-forward, a very different profile compared to your Jesus, for example, sitting at 6'1". A contract running up until 2025, meaning all that power does sit with Napoli, and therefore they want somewhere in the region of 80 to 100 million pounds. Having featured 27 times this season, he's managed to bag himself 14 goals and only 2 assists. He's certainly the type of player that is an out-and-out striker, doesn't often look for a colleague, fox in the box, loving to get in and behind those defensive lines. And some of the stats on screen certainly back that up. 3.1 shots per game and only 0.8 chances created for his colleagues, crossing 0.5. So a lot of those numbers are backed up there with the type of profile that Victor Osimhen is. He's a fantastic natural finisher of the ball with even better pace and acceleration, a constant counter-attacking threat. With the ball at his feet, he is a great dribbler. Off the ball as well, getting in behind those defenders. Very, very strong in that area. However, his first touch can certainly be worked on, as well as his passing, as we've already identified. Discipline, not the best, having recorded 5 yellow cards and 1 red card this season, and often doesn't perform under pressure. And if we have a look at his heat map, when I mentioned that he doesn't often look for his colleagues, very much a out-and-out centre-forward. That heat map certainly reflects that. So those are the 8 players that Arsenal could sign this season. Obviously, we won't sign all of them. Maybe we will. That would be one hell of a summer window. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Who do you want to see Arsenal sign this summer? Let me know. If you have enjoyed today's video, a like would be super appreciated. And if you're new around here, please do consider subscribing, as it massively helps me out. But for now, I'm JC, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe and take care.